Oh, snap. It's episode 51 of the Audible Farm podcast, and it's brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. You know what? Couchtown Coffee will ship coffee to your house. That's one of the best things about the company. The other awesome thing is they're from Iowa. And you know what? You know what might be the best part about it is when you order Couchtown Coffee, they will roast it to your specifications when you order it and then ship it to your house. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I'll tell you what, they've got this system down to a T where when you order the coffee, they roast it for you. I mean, I've done the whole big box company thing and get that pre-roasted coffee and they ship it to you and who knows how long it's been sitting there in that sealed bag. I mean, yeah, the sealed bag does some good and whatever, but this is roasted as you order it. So you're getting coffee roasted specifically for you. The next person might want it a little differently, and they're not going to get it the same way because Andrew Chipman at Couchtown Coffee is the man. You know, he just does such a good job roasting coffee. Every time I make an order, I like to make my orders and then also kind of ship some to friends too, or people that are kind of on the fence about making an order, and it's just like, you know what, I'll make the plunge and I'll order you your first pound. So I've shipped out a couple orders to people, and I always get rave reviews from them. I hope they have the guts to come back and order another pound or two for themselves. If you want to order some, we've got an awesome deal for you. So what you can do is you can go to couchtowncoffee.com. You can click on the Our Roasts section. You can find a coffee you like. You make your little order there. You can email it in, and when you email it in, make sure you use the code word cross-eyed. Cross-eyed. The code word cross-eyed will save you 20%. 20% on your order. That completely eliminates shipping costs and then puts a little bit on the top end away from the coffee. So you're going to save a decent chunk of money here. Couchtown Coffee, like I said, will roast the coffee exactly like you want it to. They'll ship it to your house. You can't beat that. It's coming right out of Iowa. It's local. They're supporting me. They're also supporting everybody listening to this podcast by giving you an opportunity to save 20%. So enter the code word cross-eyed. All right, cross-eyed. Why would you think the code word would be cross-eyed? Well, I'm sitting down with Lance Larsen of Crosseyed Mary. Lance plays the drums. The two of us had kind of gotten together and talked a little bit here and there at shows, but as far as meeting up for a podcast, it was difficult. So the two of us decided we were going to go to the Rockin' Picnic and record an episode. And that was a fantastic idea because I had plans of recording some sort of a live episode while I was there, and it never came to fruition just due to the fact there was too much ambient noise. But that's not what this episode's about. This episode is about Lance Larsen playing the drums, Crosseyed Mary, how he's played humongous shows. 7,000 plus people. You kidding me? That'd be insane. We talk about that in the podcast. We talk about trials and tribulations, how the scene has changed since he has been in the scene. All sorts of good stuff come out of this podcast. I had a great time sitting down and getting to know Lance a little bit better, and I hope you guys too. Check this episode out. It's going to be a great one. Make sure you enter that code word cross-eyed at couchtowncoffee.com. And this is going to be a great one. In the outro, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Rockin' Picnic, little recollection kind of thing from what I was there and what I saw. So check this episode out. Lance Larsen kills it. It's episode number 51.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
All right, sitting down with Lance Larsen today. Cross-Eyed Mary, drummer.
Yep.
There we go, nailed it. You and I are currently, right now, at the 2019 Rockin' Picnic.
That's an awesome day for it, isn't it?
Dude, I was worried about it yesterday because it was kind of cool, and I was thinking to myself, like, is it going to be cool today, or is it going to be cool and muggy, or is it going to get hot later, or...
It's about perfect.
It's about perfect. It's nice weather outside. I got shorts and a T-shirt on, and I couldn't be happier to be out here.
Brutal Republic in the background.
Yeah, there's Brutal Republic going on right now, and they're just killing it. When you and I, we had just decided to do an interview here at the Rockin' Picnic, and when I pulled up, they were playing Mardi Gras, and you were just like, all right, I'm here. And so I was like, oh, sweet, I get to listen to Mardi Gras, and then I'm going to head over there. So I got to hear them play a few songs, and now they're in the background. So it's, dude, it couldn't be a better day for a show.
Awesome Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, you said you actually went to a show last night, or a little meet and greet.
Yeah, it was Litterer Band.
Litterer Band.
A lot of people around here still remember them, but they're getting inducted to the Hall of Fame up in Arnold's Park.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
The show's tonight, actually, but we went up for the meet and greet. We haven't seen those guys for like 25 years, so it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. They do like cover stuff or all originals?
Both.
A little bit of both?
That's
awesome.
They had a couple albums out back in the late 80s.
Oh, sweet.
And then they would do covers, so they had a 3-hour show. Did a lot of ballrooms around the area to surf.
Yeah. I feel like that's the perfect way to do it, though, is to mix some covers with some originals if you can pull it off.
And you can still make money at it, you know, instead of doing a 35-minute set.
Exactly. That's like the toughest part about original bands is it's like, well, we don't get paid, and it's like, you played for half an hour, you know, so it is kind of tough to find the happy medium and all of that stuff, you know.
But playing for free is better than paying to play.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
I've never had to do that. Have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Luckily, though, a lot of it just came out of the band purse. I guess I call it the band purse, but, you know, so it wasn't like money out of my physical pocket other than like driving to the show, you know, so. But even then, it's, you know, I don't mind so much paying to play as long as the exposure is there, but there's always that argument that exposure doesn't put money in the bank account and doesn't pay the gas or the bills.
I've seen bands like do shows down in Des Moines at I don't think they're having too many anymore at the, what is it, Valair?
Yeah, yep.
And their set time would be like 5:30, you know.
Uh-huh.
And there'd be 3 or 4 bands on there, so
yeah,
it's not worth paying to play when you're starting at 5:30.
Exactly. Yeah, it's tough.
When the headliner doesn't start till 9.
Yeah, we played a show at Valair. Actually, somebody had booked the building. I don't know who was in charge of the promotion for that, but they had us and another band there, and it was one of those types of deals where it's like, you guys just come and play. We'll pay you out of who shows up and stuff like that. And I think we started at like 6, and the other band started at like 8:30. So we covered about 2 hours with like a punk band. We threw a couple covers in there just for shits and giggles, but. It was one of those deals where we got done playing. It's like, man, there's like 16 people here, including the sound guy, the other band. When we were done, unfortunately, some of our friends ended up leaving. So, like, I think the place even emptied out for the other band. I can't tell you off the top of my head who the other band was, which is unfortunate because it's been like 2 years. But yeah, they were friggin' awesome. They're playing like Megadeth and Metallica and AC/DC.
Really?
And they were just mowing through like 80s rock and metal bands, and it was like, man, how come nobody's here watching this? These guys are killing it. But, you know, it's like you said, it's one of those things. It's kind of a crapshoot, especially when you go to somewhere like, you know, Valor Ballroom, where people don't even know that they're still doing shows there sometimes because they're so few and far between.
Are they still having? They're not doing too many, are they?
No, very few. Very, very few. I want to say that there might have been like a wrestling event there not too long ago.
Oh, really?
I know that like rap shows go on there sometimes, but at the same rate, I also know the people that live around the area are kind of mad about the noise that comes out of there when shows are on, which...
It's right in a residential neighborhood.
It is near it, but at the same rate, like, why would you buy a house next to a concert venue and then complain about the concert venue?
It's like the State Fair racetrack, you know?
Yeah, oh, God. And I can understand...
There's a big issue with that, too.
I could understand if you were, like, grandfathered into this situation. Like, I was here before the Valor Ballroom, but you didn't own that house. Yeah. That thing's been there since, like, the 50s, so you can't tell me that you've lived there longer than that. Maybe somebody has, but...
Yeah.
So you play the drums. How long have you been playing?
I guess, like, I don't know, 35 years, I guess.
35 years. How long have you been with Crosseyed Mary?
I think we're going on like 22 years.
There's
been some breaks here and there. Like 7 years ago, we didn't play for about 4 or 5 years. We ended up getting in a fight and told each other to fuck off. And didn't talk to each other for like 5 years.
Dude, it's so unfortunate that happens with bands, but like being in a band, and I'm not trying to like put any of my bands on the spot, but I can see how that happens. You got to spend all day, or even not all day, but you got to spend a decent amount of time with people that...
Like, back then, we thought we needed to play every weekend to justify being in a band. Mm-hmm. We just got burnt out. And, the bar scene kind of died there.
It did.
It was right around the time the smoking laws come in place.
Yep.
And, I don't know, it just kind of got dead there for a while. It's not like it's great now, but...
Exactly.
Then Little Willie and Clarion, you remember that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
We were pretty good friends with him. He got sick,
Uh-huh.
so we decided to get back together and kind of do a benefit for that.
Yep.
And then Dave Hazel, my guitar player, is like, well, we got all these tunes, worked up again. Why don't we book some more gigs? And we've been going ever since.
Yeah, that seems to be the way it goes most of the time. You're from the Clarion area, actually.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy that you and I have been trying to get this podcast in, and we're not really that far away, but our schedules are so busy that we actually had to like meet up at a show to do it.
I live in Eagle Grove now, but I grew up in Clarion.
That's cool, man. Little Willie's, I want to say I've seen videos of bands playing there on YouTube. Maybe somebody's uploaded some from back in the day. The name sounds so familiar.
It was kind of a little hole in the wall. Mm-hmm. We call it the dark side. But
so
you could do anything you wanted there. I mean, we blew off pyro there.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
A lot of places now, you can't be here too loud and all this.
Yep.
It didn't matter at Little Willie's. I mean, we just tore it up.
That's awesome.
We played the last night that the bar was open.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen such a crazy show. There was a kid that got tased by the cops.
Oh, jeez.
At the end of the night, they called in sheriffs and state troopers from, like, Tri-County area.
Yep.
And they had, like, a big perimeter around the 3-block area.
Yep.
Because they thought there was going to be a riot, and that was crazy.
Dude, that's, as crazy as that is, it's awesome that many people can show up to an event, whether it be for like a benefit or a last night for a bar, or any band or anything like that. That's something special because it just does not happen too often.
The whole place, it wasn't a very big place, but it was packed inside. And it was about 120 degrees inside. And
Yep.
100 people up front, 100 people up back, and then the cops showed up. And my wife got an open container ticket.
Standing out back with one.
We had our motorhome over there.
Oh, okay.
And she walked out of the motorhome and was going to go to the back door, and it wasn't even open or anything.
Oh, jeez.
She ended up fighting it in court and won, but
yeah,
it was. I'm talking to the cop during that, and somebody started throwing bricks and bottles at the cops that I was talking to. So I'm like, shit, man, I got to get back inside.
Jesus. That's wild, man. I've never been involved in anything like that, music-wise at least. No Three Finger Buddies never caused any riots, I don't think, But
seen a lot of things late at night, there's nothing really good happens after 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
When you're tearing down and trying to go home. And
yeah, man.
Seen high-speed chases, people getting their ass kicked outside of the bar,
Yep. Dude, and that that happens though. It comes along with the territory of playing at bars and stuff like that. Because I'm just gonna go out on a limb and guess that even if a band's not playing, that's probably gonna happen at the bar. Because it just happens.
Yeah.
Last night I played a show at Boggs, and it's just like you said. Like I left Boggs at like 2:15 in the morning after the bar closed. We all got paid out and loaded our gear out, and I hop in my car and I'm gonna drive down the road, and somebody ahead of me. They're going like 40 down a residential, and then they're going 10 and swerving all over the place. And it's like, what's going on here, buddy? But at the same rate, like, oh, I'll just steer clear of this person. So have you ever played anything other than drums? Let me ask you that.
No.
So you're primarily
I'm not
a drummer.
smart enough for anything else.
Dude, you say that, but I feel like I'm not smart enough to play the friggin' drums, man.
I just bang on stuff hard.
Dude, I've got so much respect for drummers because I don't know how they go about doing everything they're doing. As far as like just keeping time and rhythm, you guys are like, if you guys are off even a little bit, it kind of just throws everything else off. And maybe I don't want that responsibility, or I don't know what it is, but it's insanity how good. Like every drummer I've interviewed, you go watch them play, it's just like, God dang, this guy's good. I can play like AC/DC.
Yeah.
I can do that not even well, but I bought a drum set, found one cheap online, was like, I'm going to try this out. And it's not easy, man, so don't sell yourself short on that. But how did you start playing the drums? Was it just like, hey, we need a drummer for this band, and you just picked it up, or were you a kid? And
I always, since I was a real little kid, some friends of my parents growing up he was like a high school drummer. So I'd just be in awe, when I'd see that drum kit.
Mm-hmm.
Then they never bought me drums, but I had a pair of sticks the whole time I was growing up. I don't know. I just beat on pillows, and I don't know. I just always had an interest in drums.
Did you play in high school at all?
No, they made me play trombone.
Oh, gross.
You know how you try out.
No offense to the trombone players, but gross.
Well, how you try out, different instruments. They said, no, you don't have any talent to play drums.
Oh, it's the worst.
You got to play trombone. So
yeah, a lot of times they'll be like, you got to play piano to play drums.
Yeah, that's a big thing now.
And it helps out with the rhythm. I totally get it. But man,
everybody wanted to play drums in school,
I feel like everybody kind of did, I ended up getting stuck with the trumpet, and the older I got, the more they were like, let's switch you to something else because you're not the greatest at the trumpet. But far be it from me. I
Out
never.
of every gig, somebody comes up and says, "Yeah, I used to be a drummer. I had a trap set. That just trap set, like, nah, you weren't a real drummer. You were a band drummer."
Yeah, played in jazz band in high school because they call it a trap set. So that, why is that? Why is it called a trap set?
I don't know. I never call it a trap set.
I never have either.
It's a drum kit.
It's a drum kit, but I'm sure there's a reason. I'll Google it. Maybe somebody can, entertain me with the reason why.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Okay, bigger drum kit or smaller drum kit? What's your preference? Because
The older I get, the smaller.
Smaller, yeah. Did you like having the big one when you were younger because you liked having the extra stuff to beat on, or what's the deal with that?
It was just cool.
Yeah.
That was an 80s thing,
Oh, totally. Oh,
Everybody
my God.
had
had that
big drum kits.
Nico McBrain drum kit where it's
no
you can't-
bottom heads, yeah.
Yeah, you can't even see the drummer because he's got so much stuff.
He still plays like that, but
He still does. Yeah, I went and saw Maiden.
he's got roadies and drum
last week.
techs. And
Yeah, no kidding. He's not the one lugging it around. Dude, that was wild actually seeing Maiden. Those guys are like in their 60s.
you just saw that last week?
Yeah,
Really?
I saw them on, God, it would have been Monday. I saw them
Up
in
in
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like my 8th or 9th time seeing Maiden.
When they started touring again, I thought, man, they must be, kind of burnt out. And shit, man, they're like huge in like third world countries,
Dude,
South
it's insane.
America. And,
Yeah. They did that Flight 666 documentary. And
that's
it's like,
awesome.
They like went down to like Colombia and like wherever they went in Colombia, like Bogota or some shit. They like built them a stage to play on or whatever. And dude, it's wild to think about that kind of stuff.
Grown men crying,
Yeah.
when they see them.
Yep. Dude, oh God, it's so cool.
I couldn't imagine that they were still that huge. They're big in the States, but not nearly as big as other countries.
No, and that's the other thing is like you say Iron Maiden and everyone's like, oh, these guys got to be like, death and heavy and It's like, no, these guys are actually storytellers.
Very melodic and
very intricate. None of their songs sound the same.
The bass player, what's his name?
Steve Harris.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does most of the writing,
Yep.
He's a genius.
Dude, it's so good. But like when you base all of your songs after like wars and like famous castles that are in Europe and books and things like
There's
that.
a lot of biblical stuff in their lyrics and stuff too.
Yeah, dude, it was good time. I took somebody, it was their first time seeing Iron Maiden, and they were just like, "This is so good." And it's like, yeah, this is really good. I didn't pay this much to go see somebody that would suck.
How much for the tickets? Pretty spendy.
They were pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the most I'd spent on a ticket, other than Roger Waters' The Wall.
Oh yeah.
That was the most I'd ever spent on a ticket.
Was that at the Target Center or was that at the football stadium?
Target Center, and I also saw them because I saw them twice on the tour. Where else did I see them? Maybe Omaha, maybe not. I don't know. But that might have been one of my favorite shows I ever been to was Roger Waters' The Wall.
Really?
It was, dude, it was such a good time, and it was updated to be modern and stuff. So every time they threw a brick up, the brick would have like a LCD video display, and as soon as the whole wall was up, like the display is all connected, and it was like, here's like a giant message from
Really?
whatever, and it was very politically driven, but at the same rate, it was a good show. Okay, we're gonna get back to you now. Playing drums, Crosseyed Mary. You guys do a lot of cover bands. You do originals. Like let's
Pretty much covers. We have done originals, but
yeah.
we're just pretty much cover band.
Yeah. So, what do you think drives you to do less originals and more covers?
Well, I played in an original band for a few years too.
What's
It's
that?
two totally different things.
Very much. Very much.
Two different crowds, everything.
Bingo. Yeah. You got two completely different markets as far as
Original bands, the fans or patrons are there to watch a band.
Yep.
And a lot of times cover bands, you're just sometimes background music or... and those same people will bitch like a cover band. They like it because they know all the songs.
Yep.
And if it's an original band, well, I don't even know one song of theirs.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's original.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
And they think they suck because they don't know the songs.
bingo. Yeah, dude, I'm glad you said that because anybody that's listening, that is like literally 100% exactly the reason why any of that happens.
Like the Freedom Rally, I hear it every year.
Yep.
We played up there for 6 years in a row. This last year was our first year not there.
Yeah.
But I'd hear it every year. Oh, the band last night sucked, 1 year it was Saliva.
Oh,
And they
God.
did kind of suck. They had a different singer. And
Oh, really?
I didn't even know they had a different singer.
I didn't know they had a different singer
Yeah.
either. Was it Josie Scott, I think, was their singer, and he
Something
gone?
like that. He's good.
Yeah, he was good,
I
dude.
liked him.
Yeah.
But, the new version. I didn't know that he was gone until they come out, and I'm like, that's not the same singer.
Yeah, that's not the guy I remember.
And they were pushing their new album, So they didn't play that many other older stuff. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard people, yeah, man, they really sucked and all this. And no, they were decent, but
Yeah.
you didn't know they didn't play a bunch of 70s, 80s classics.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, though. It's like just knowing the band and knowing what you're getting into. Unfortunately, like, and that's the worst part, is there's a lot of people that just don't want to hear new music anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know if you know Bob Minter from Code Zero Radio, but he's been one of those guys that's just been drilling new music into anybody that'll listen, because there's good music still coming out.
If you
these
listen to what
days.
he's playing, they're from all over the place too.
Yeah, not just Iowa.
Yeah,
you know,
there's some really good bands.
dude, it's wild. And like, how do you feel like, since you've played both, how do you feel like you draw like a disconnect between the two? Like, do you have a preference as to playing covers or originals, or
No, not really. I'm not a songwriter. I'm just a drummer.
yeah.
So I'm just playing drums, and I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth from the original band. I kind of got screwed over at the end, but
Yeah.
but that's not anything to do with original versus covers. But
Yeah.
I do like playing shorter sets.
Oh God, yeah, dude.
3-hour or 4-hour show, it's kind of hard.
I can only imagine. The longest I've covered with a band is about 2.5 hours, and any longer than that, I'm just like wowed that people can do it.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it with Three Finger Betty, and when you're putting like 2-hour sets, like 30 punk songs, you know, because they're all short and fast. But
Playing here at Rockin' Picnic, Scott Dahl, the first year we played here, he's like, you got a 2-hour set. I'm like, do we take a break in between, 2 hours? Nope, straight through.
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, how am I going to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
I always got to pee.
Yeah. Well, lucky for everybody down here, there's always lots of porta potties and things like that. This is a well-furnished event. I'm like wowed and blessed for like Humboldt. It's just crazy. I've been here. I went one year, probably about 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago, one of the first ones, and then I hadn't been back until like 3 or 4 years ago. I started coming back and watching the bands here, and it's dude, it is awesome. It's a great time here. Like you said, there's bands that will play for like 2 hours straight here, and it's just mind blowing. Like I played here and I was given like a half an hour set, and that was even that's enough pressure for me to play like covers and play a half.
They always
an hour.
have like somebody doing something, changeover.
Yep.
I mean, there's music the whole time.
The whole entire time.
It's very well run, very well organized.
Yeah, I couldn't
laid back.
I couldn't see anything better about this. Like, it's such a good time here.
And it's all free.
Yeah, and you've played it. How many times have you played the Rockin' Picnic? Twice.
Last year and then 2 years.
2 years.
Because they usually don't have the same band 2 years in a row, which is cool.
Dude, that is awesome. Otherwise, you think, it'd just
I'll
be a
keep
little
coming
dry.
back every time they will hire us. I mean, it's fun.
Dude, yeah, it's
a cool stage too, cool venue.
Yeah.
I went to the Freedom Rally here when I was like 18.
Yeah, so you got to see some bands on the stage that were big bands then, probably.
It was like John Kay from Steppenwolf, or maybe it wasn't John Kay, but it was part of Steppenwolf.
Yep.
I was amazed,
Yeah.
Growing up in Clarion,
Uh-huh.
I think the Freedom Rally started about the same time I started playing drums.
Mm-hmm.
So you go uptown and watch all the bikes and see the bands and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, all these big bands are right in Humboldt.
Yep.
I was just amazed. So to be able to play the Freedom Rally 8 years, is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Last year we played the main stage too, so.
Yeah, and that's now it's up in Algona.
Algona, yeah.
Yep.
That's a very well organized. They treat you good up there too.
Yeah, man. They got the 2-stage setup up there usually, right?
Yeah, they have a beer barn.
Uh-huh.
Which is pretty nice now. And it's fun. I mean, it's crazy. That's almost funner than playing the main stage. Because it's later at night, and you see some stuff that you can't unsee up there. I mean,
that's the best description of what goes on at the debate rallies.
I've had some pretty screwed up stuff happening right in front of me.
Uh-huh.
They like to get up on stage and compete.
Yep, be part of the show.
Yeah,
become the show.
I've seen some stuff that was just wrong too.
Dude, that's like I don't want to like pigeonhole anybody. That's like literally the only reason I don't go to the debate rallies and stuff like that, because it's just like, it's not like I want to be traumatized by seeing something I haven't seen before, but at the same rate, like you said, you can't unsee some of the stuff you see, and then it's not.
The only time I've ever gone to it, and when I wasn't playing, was when it was here when I was like 18. But other than that, it's always when we played. But the beer garden has really evolved. The first year, I think we played up there. The second year, they had it in Algona. And the building was the same, but the stage was 2 guys in a pickup come with 2 pieces of plywood and threw them on the ground and said, there's your drum riser.
Oh God, yeah.
We had to have our own PA, and
Oh man, yeah.
now it's Mike Wiedemann who's doing production here.
Nice.
Him, Andy Anderson does they do the main stage and the beer
Dude.
barn. So it's the same PA I think that's here.
Dude, it's so killer. Like the sound here is concert level quality, amazing. It is so good.
That's one thing I've appreciated over the years. We've dealt with better soundmen, you know.
Dude, yeah.
Starting out, Jesus, we didn't know what we were doing either. You know?
Yep.
If you got a good sound guy, it takes so much pressure off and
Bingo.
makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, as far as playing shows with the different bands I've played, like, you can go to different places and some of them have a house sound man and some of them don't. And, like, I played out here at the Rock and Picnic and they got their own sound man and it sounds great here. And it's not that, like, some are bad and some are good, but, you know, some places you go and it's like the sound guy is just there getting paid like $100 to sit there 3 hours through a show he doesn't want to listen to, and how interested is he going to be in trying to mix everything to sound good if he
Mike
doesn't?
and his wife, I mean, his wife's good too.
Yeah,
She knows what she's doing.
it's wild. Like I feel like sound guys don't get enough positive things said about them because, like you said, they take so much pressure off the band if they're there.
Mark Gales is another good one.
Dude, Mark Gales is so good. He's so good.
I've known him since I played with a ski band for about a year and a half, and he was just starting to get into it then. He was married to Ed Wilson, which was a ski band sound guy. So he was kind of recruiting Mark into it, and that's how Mark got started. So I've known Mark for a long time.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So, like, when you go play at shows, is there usually a sound guy or no?
In Crosseyed Mary?
Yeah.
Depends on how big they are. Like we play Iowa Falls. And they have a little house PA.
Yep.
So we just run it from there.
Yep.
He just can't be as loud and
Yeah, exactly.
controlled. And But yeah, if we do an outside show, we've used Mark before for outside shows.
Yeah.
We've used Mark too, but Wiedemann.
Yep.
Like if it's a big street dance or something, we'll hire him for production and everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it just makes
Which
sense.
is the way I'd rather do it anyway. It's a lot less work.
Bingo.
Than dragging PA and lights around.
Yeah. Just taking that pressure off your shoulders. Because, like, I've played shows at bars, whether it be, like, I've played a couple bars in Humboldt where they don't have their own PA, so you got to drag your own PA in, and then you get, like, well, I got to set up all my guitar stuff and then make sure that sounds good, and then set up the PA and try to make sure that sounds good and adjust it for whoever, and do we have a monitor, and, like, how are we going to hook it? Do you want to hook it up this way or that way, and blah. I mean, it's just one thing after the other. But if you have somebody else that has all the equipment, they know what they're doing, they just set it up and go, and you say, I need more guitar in this monitor, boom, done. Like, you don't have to, like, walk to a mixer and be like, does this sound better? Like, I always hated that when you have one guy just stands in the crowd and they're like, how good does this sound? Like, everybody play a song, you know. And
our guitar player Dave Yazel has done sound for a long time too, so
it's got to be a benefit.
He'll
there.
have a wireless and go out and listen. And
oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
That's awesome. I don't know. We play, like I said, we play a lot of bars that have just like a house PA.
Yeah.
Not all of them do that. Like Lefties has a sound guy, Vaudeville has a sound guy. So we play those two places a decent amount. But like we played a couple shows up in Humboldt, no sound guy, and it's, you know, if we're going to be playing in a bar, playing punk music, it's like we're not going to hire a sound guy because it's not going to be monetarily worth it or whatever. But, you know, it's always the toughest thing to do is finding the right sound for the right place. I feel like that is, as far as I'm concerned, like that is always like the hardest thing for a band to do because you usually end up with somewhere where it's like, let me put it this way. Like I went to a show last night in Des Moines, got back super late, but like the Eleanors played and they got through one song and it's like, all right, you need to turn your guitar up, you need to turn your guitar down, and you need to go up a little bit. And it's like, so we're like running sound for them from the crowd after one song, and they, after adjusting it after 2 or 3 songs, boom, sounds perfect. But it's still one of those deals where it's like a crapshoot. You got to get through half your set before everything sounds good, and you rely on what the crowd says, and it's not always the easiest situation.
Yeah.
We've got visitors.
What do you want? You can edit this stuff out. Right?
That's totally cool. Do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna pause. All right, we are back. We were just talking sound guys and stuff like that. Let me ask you this. So, like, what's your favorite preferred style of music? Do you like playing blues? Do you like playing, like, heavy metal? Like, do you like
hard rock, pretty much, yeah.
Kicking double pedals? What are we doing with the drum kit?
Yeah, I got double pedals, but we play Crosseyed Mary's. Well, anything we play, we kind of make it a little bit heavier, you know.
Yeah.
Not like super heavy, but it's got an edge to it, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of Black Sabbath, Ozzy.
Nice.
Metallica, stuff like that. We just started playing Kenny Wayne Shepherd. What is it, Blue on Black?
Yep.
And we didn't want to do the new version, you know.
Yep.
But it'll end up being more like that, you know.
Yeah.
Doing Kenny Wayne. And it's not that much different, but...
Yeah. I mean, just those little nuanceical changes make it a song for your band. Like, well, when I go see Crosseyed Mary play, I like it when they play this song because it sounds a little bit different than the studio version, and it gives that little added depth to your band.
Yeah, we don't try to... We're not a tribute band, you know.
Yeah.
We're not trying to
cover it exactly as it sounds.
Yeah, we just kind of play it our own way. Put our spin on it or flair on it.
Yeah, and that's like, I feel like that's what adds a lot of the characteristic of a good cover band to anything, even if you're not like want to consider yourself a cover band or whatever. Like, for example, we're listening Brutal Republic's going on in the background, and they add their own spice to things. Same deal. It's just like when they're playing whatever Red House, it doesn't sound like Jimi Hendrix is playing Red House. It sounds like Brutal Republic, you know. So those are like probably some of my favorite parts about cover bands is when they make a song their own, and they're not trying to play it exactly like it sounds on the record and stuff like that.
A singer can't replicate, you know, 40 different singers in a night.
Bingo. Yeah, that's super tough. I mean, you get a band like Hairball, and they exchange singers sometimes in and out because it's not possible for someone to go from...
Arch Allies was opening up, or setting up yesterday when we were up in Okoboji. Have you ever seen them?
Nope.
They're pretty much a tribute band, but they only do like 3 or 4 different bands. Def Leppard, REO Speedwagon, and they do a good job, but...
Yep.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Yeah.
They make a lot more money, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another one of those weird things where, like, specializing as a cover band, I feel like you can make more if you...
Tribute bands,
if you... And that's coming back huge right now. Like, a buddy of mine down in Des Moines started a Typo Negative cover band. I don't know if you know what that is, but, like, they've been... He played one show in Des Moines, it went over super well, and now he's starting to book shows in, like, Omaha and Minneapolis and stuff, and there's interest in that. And
look at Hairball. I mean...
Dude... Yeah, Hairball.
I bet they still say to themselves, my God, can you believe, you know, how big this got?
Yeah, and they're from, like, what, Minneapolis area? Yeah, and those guys are just blowing up. Like, I couldn't imagine, I don't know, I've heard rumors with how much it costs to book them, but at the same rate with the production and the professionalism that those guys have, it's 100% justified. Yeah, so, but that's always one of those weird things I find is, like, when you're going to cover a song, how close do you want to keep it to the original? And if you don't, how does everybody in the band decide that, like, this is the way we're going to play it?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, I played Rockin' Picnic last year with a band of guys that I threw together. It was Jeff Blummel from Chris Carr Band and Nick Earhart from Riddled with Class, and then Dan Blair and myself. And it's like, well, let's play some blues songs. And, like, how do you want to go about doing this? Because this is how the record sounds. And, like, one of the examples was we're playing an AC/DC song. It was Just Got Paid. And if you listen to the CD version, it's different than the radio version. The radio version is shorter with a shorter solo than the CD version. So we're all like listening to different versions, and it's like, dude, let's not try and map this out as far as the song goes. Let's just go section to section to section, play random solos. If we want to kick it back and forth and do it a couple times, just do it on the fly and see how good it comes out. And that's kind of how I like doing things, is just jamming your way through stuff. But it limits you to what you can play. Like, you're not going to be playing any AC/DC and just be like, I'm just going to jam this out for a while, and we're just going to have like a 6-minute solo section. It just wouldn't sound good, you know. But if you're playing ZZ Top, you can pull it off, you know. So
our guitar player does that to a lot of songs. I mean, old Alice Cooper tunes, and he's a very good guitar player. He can shred.
Let's throw him some props here. Who is your guitar players? Who is everybody in Crosseyed Mary right
Dave
now?
Yazel.
Okay.
He lives down in Des Moines.
All right.
There's another Dave Evans. We call him Groovy. Yazel and Groovy. So. And then we just got our original bass player back, Brian Barlow. He's from up by Mason City.
Cool.
So we just did one show with him so far, and he's a nice addition. We've been trying to get him to come back to the band for quite a while because Groovy always switches back to bass. Then we'll be a 3-piece without Barlow. And Brian's a bass player. I mean, Dave isn't a bass player. He's a guitar player that will fill in on bass if we need him. Yeah, I mean, he does a fine job.
Oh, yeah.
Brian's a much better bass player. And then we got 2 guitars, and if we have... And that makes a big difference, too.
Yeah, it does. 2 guitars versus 1 makes a huge difference. Just like you said, if somebody's like a dedicated bass player versus somebody who's just hopping on the bass to fill in the sonic space, I will do that. I'll jump on the bass to play for like any of the bands I'm in, but I'm not a bass player. You know, I've said it multiple times, even talking with bass players on the podcast. Like, I feel like almost anybody can play bass passably, but to play it well is a whole nother story. You know, like, there's so many nuances the bass guitar has that the guitar doesn't have that just don't lend themselves. Like, if you're just flipping over to the bass for one show, you're not going to play it like the other guy did. It's just not going to work out.
And for the drummer, it's nice to have a good bass player, you know.
Dude, I
Me
bet.
and him lock really well. And
Yeah.
I've been lucky to play with some good bass players. Gene Walker.
Yeah.
He was a good bass player. Yeah, there's just been quite a few of them, but Brian Barlow's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And he's got really killer equipment. I mean,
That always helps out too.
Jesus. It's just crazy stupid.
I always run into those conversations online with people where it's just like, oh, someone's using like this $200 Marshall solid state head that just is a piece of junk. It's like, well, I guess I had one, but like if you play it live, it's a completely different story than playing it in your bedroom at your house. So
Yazel has really crazy stuff too.
yeah,
He's always got something new too. Show up for practice with different guitar. I mean, I've never seen his guitar collection, but I don't know how many he has. But
you might have like three.
It's worth a lot of money.
You might have like three, and he's just like selling one off and swapping it out and selling the
Yeah,
next
he's
one off.
always,
He could be doing that, you know.
He's got a bunch, but he's
Yeah.
always buying and selling. And
I like that kind of thought process to this stuff because you never know exactly what you really like unless you try a little bit of everything. And
he teaches down at Reman's in Des Moines,
sweet, that's awesome.
so he's got pretty good connection there, and
Yeah,
pretty good friends with the tech guy there, and
that's awesome.
he'll get good deals on stuff, and they treat him pretty good.
That's really cool. As far as teaching guitar lessons and stuff like that, it's something I do sparingly in my free time. I teach a few younger kids guitar, and like my talent level is still not as high as I would like it to be, but I can still teach people the basics. And I feel like at least even teaching younger people or people my own age, I've taught older people even how to play guitar. Believe it or not, I taught like a 70 or 80-year-old lady how to play guitar,
Really?
and she's been one of my best students that I've
Really?
ever had. So that's
I
wild.
would think it'd be kind of frustrating. Well, Yazel says that he likes it if they're serious, you know.
Yes, I will.
If they're
100%
serious
agree.
about learning.
It's difficult to show up and somebody didn't practice and they don't care, or like their parent is forcing them to be there.
Exactly.
It's very difficult. I had given one lesson to one kid that literally just sat there with his arms crossed like as much as possible.
Really?
And then it'd be like, hey, play this, and he'd just like put his arms to the guitar and go, and then he'd just cross his arms again, and it was like you know. So after the lesson's over, it's like, what would you rather be doing right now? I'd rather be playing video games. My mom took my games away until I got, did my lesson. It's like, oh, this isn't going to be productive at all. But it does add a lot of perspective as far as like me and my own playing style and how patient you got to be even with like other musicians and things like that. It has added a lot of perception to what's going on.
He gets to play a lot of new songs, you know.
Yeah.
Some kid wants to learn this song, so he's got to go out and learn it. And
Yep, dude, that is like some of the best stuff ever because it's through attrition. You're expanding your horizons even if you don't know you're doing it.
yeah.
And it is kind of tough though to find people that know what they want to play though, because sometimes it's just like, what kind of songs do you want to play? And it could be somebody on their second lesson, they're like, teach me this Marilyn Manson song, and it's like, well, I could, but we'd have to like tune your guitar differently, and then we'd have to like open a whole new can of worms as far as that's concerned.
I've had people ask me if I do lessons, and I'd be a terrible teacher because I am not a technical drummer. I taught myself, you know. And back then, that was before internet.
Yeah.
There was hardly mail order, you know.
How the hell do you do that? Like, somebody was just like, hey, you want this book? It teaches you how to play drums. And I'm like, shit, yeah, I do. And then I'm like, how the hell am I going to learn this from a book? You know? But people did it, and like, how did you go about learning?
It was almost before videos. I mean, I didn't have MTV at the time. There was a show on, I can't remember what it was called. It would be like Friday Night Videos or something.
Yep.
And you just watch the drummer, and for a long time, I didn't know you were supposed to cross your arms, you know.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, God, that guy's playing like that.
Yeah. Oh man. So so if you're right-handed drummer, you'd be hitting snare with your left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually left-handed.
But you play on a right or left-handed kit.
Right-handed.
Right-handed. So I mean, that'd be like the left hand would still hit the snare though, because you're playing like a right-handed drummer. But you were thinking uncross your hand, so the right was hitting the snare.
Yeah. Well, I still play like that. I mean,
oh really?
I do both. Change it up.
Dude, that's wicked.
That's just because I'm a left-hander playing right-handed is kind of fucked up.
That's got to add a lot of
It makes fills a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah, I would imagine that would change the way things go down on the drums for you, as far as like what somebody could just teach you and be like, this is how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That might actually be to your benefit, though. You ever think of that?
It makes you look more ambidextrous. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I kind of do some weird stuff.
Not
saying it's good, but it's different.
I bet it is. I wonder how many drummers sit and watch you drumming, and they're just like, whoa, what's this guy doing? This is crazy. 'Cause he's...
I twirl my sticks way too much, too. I was a big Tommy Lee fan, you know?
Dude, yeah, I actually really, really like that, as showboaty as it sounds and looks, to see people doing it. I freaking love that. Like,
I don't do it on purpose. It's just normal.
Yeah. I as far as that goes, I've asked a handful of people, like, do you twirl your sticks on purpose, et cetera, and they're like, well, I practiced doing it when I was younger because I thought it was cool, and now I just can't get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a big enough space in between something, the snare hand comes way up in the air, a stick twirl, and then pop, down it goes.
Right.
And it's, I get where they're coming from. It's just one of those things that's just kind of how it goes. But so, like, do you consider yourself a flashier drummer, or more of a sit in the pocket and groove with everybody drummer? Or?
Sit in the pocket.
Yeah.
I'm a big AC/DC fan, so I've always been, you know, sometimes it's just a crash on a cymbal is more important than a big fill, or
Bingo.
just solid and
Yeah.
straight. Sometimes, like when I was playing in the original band, the drummer that I replaced was a very good drummer, but
Mm-hmm.
the music was pretty simple, and he was trying to really write some intricate drums, you know.
Yeah.
I came in and I just kind of simplified everything,
Mm-hmm.
straightened everything, you know, it was pretty much straightforward. But yeah, I can do some fun stuff, but depends on what it is.
Dude, I definitely agree with that. You can overcomplicate the drums, and it kind of affects everything else that's going on.
It takes away from the groove, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to have less is more on the drums. Not always, but
Yeah.
like you said, sometimes. A good example you brought up was AC/DC. So I did a podcast with Eric Tran was the guy's name. He lives down in Des Moines. He plays guitar and stuff. And he said that when he plays with a guitarist or another drummer, he'll bring him in and be like, let's play AC/DC. And he said that's his like test to see how well this drummer is going to fit into what's going on. As far as like, are they just going to like pack this thing full of tons of fills, or are they going to try and sit in the pocket and do these little nuanceical things that make AC/DC good? Because it's like he said, you can play AC/DC on the drums, but playing it well like they do is a completely different story, because it's, like you said, it's in the pocket. Sometimes that cymbal crash is worth more than a giant fill, and overcomplicating things either takes away from what the guitarist is doing, what the singer's doing, the whole band as a whole coming out to the audience. It definitely makes a big deal.
Funny we're talking about AC/DC, the tribute band tonight.
Yeah, there's an AC/DC tribute band tonight.
Looking forward to them.
Dude, Rolling Thunder, yeah, I believe that's the name. That's
Ever heard of Thunderstruck? They're a big AC/DC. They play up at the Surf.
I have heard of
every
them,
year.
yeah.
Been up there the last couple of years.
I loved going to shows at the Surf. It's been a while since I've been there. One of the first shows I ever went to as an adult was at the Surf, and it was, let's see here, Quiet Riot, Rat, and Cinderella.
Oh, I was at that.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been about 10, 15, maybe 15 years ago. Firehouse was supposed to be on the show too, but they pulled off at the last second. And dude, that was one of the things where I saw that and I was just like, dude, Cinderella is just killing it. And I was like, I grew up my whole entire life, like hair bands were just kind of, you know, like I didn't really care too much for them. It's like, why you guys all got teased hair and makeup? And it just didn't make sense to me. And then you go see Cinderella, and Tommy Kiefer's like maybe on his second vocal surgery, and he still sounds awesome.
I don't know how he can sing like that for this many years.
I don't know either. And he's like, oh, we're just going to wheel out a white baby grand piano for him to play on too. And it's like, this is insanity. I can't believe it. He's got sparkle guitars. And
that was one of the first 80s bands that I saw, that, because there for a while there wasn't any 80s bands touring.
Yep.
In the mid-90s, you know.
Yep.
We opened up for Quiet Riot up in Clear Lake.
Sweet.
Probably like 94, 95.
Oh, so they still had...
downtown.
Who's the singer? God, I'm going to feel like...
Kevin DeBrew. It was all original members.
Yeah.
Except Rudy Sarzo. It was actually their original bass player,
Dude,
Chuck Wright.
That's cool.
But that was in a bar downtown. It's
way.
a racer. It's a racing themed bar. Now it's a big bar downtown. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
It might be Racers or something like that.
You said that was Okoboji?
No, Clear Lake.
Clear Lake. Oh God, that would have been
But
wild.
back then, there wasn't all those bands touring.
Yeah.
So we're like,
Well,
we get the call from the club owner if we wanted to do the show. And fuck yeah.
Dude, that's crazy though, because they like you said, they like all those '80s bands, the hair metal bands, got just completely squashed
Yeah.
and disappeared. Like they just it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And then, dude, like
You didn't even hear it on the radio,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't start going to shows until like 2003, 4, 5 was about when I started going to live concerts and stuff. And you'd see these hair metal bands, and it's like here's an example. I went and saw the LA Guns. Everybody in the band was younger than me.
Yeah.
And it was like, how does this work out when this band is
Yeah.
older than I am old, but everybody in the band is younger than I am old? And it's, I don't know. So like, there became a demand for it later and later and later, but there was also a bunch of fill-in musicians that were thrown in there.
Yeah.
And, I guess, how much is somebody going to want to, after you've played arenas with a band that has no budgets because all the money's coming in left and right, and then how mad are you going to want to go play a show at
Like most of those
Des Moines
bands didn't make
Waterworks?
any money. I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't keep it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So now they're touring around, with their 1 or 2 hits and still trying to make a living at it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I'll go pay to watch them play. It's fun to see, even if there is just a couple original members in those bands. I'm all about watching them play.
There's some really good 80s bands still. Cinderella's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they still got their original guitarist as well with them, I want to say.
I don't think they're playing anymore. I think now it's Tom Kiefer. It was all original,
Yep.
but I think Tom Kiefer's got a solo thing or something. I look over, what's up, man?
All right, I just hit record again. Ran out of battery, ran out of juice. But yeah, we're talking 80s bands and things of the like. But dude, it's what. Let me ask you this: being a cover band, sometimes you get the opportunity to open up for bands like these 80s bands and stuff. We've talked about a few that you've got to play with. Let's start name dropping some bands. Who have you played with, being in Crosseyed Mary or any other band that?
Not so much direct support, but a lot of bands up at the Freedom Rally.
Yeah,
They get a pretty good lineup.
That's good stuff though. That's another one. Just those Freedom Rallies.
But the original band too.
Mm-hmm.
We played quite a few cool shows. Bullet Boys, we opened up for Afterlife in Algona.
Yep. Oh,
Jeffrey
yeah.
used to bring a lot of good bands up there.
Yeah, and now it's Lifers up in
Yeah,
Algona, I
I
think
think
is what
it
it's
is
called.
Lifers.
Yeah, we've tried to squeeze into that market a few times, but the booking up there is sporadic as far as I can
Yeah.
tell, because it'll be like, we've got an opening on this day, can you make it? And it's like, well, that's 4 days away. Like, it's going to be hard to
I haven't been up
have
since,
everybody shuffle their
called
schedules. But then they'll be like, all right, we got one like 4 months from now. And it's like, oh, shit, that's a little far out for us to say whether or
Yeah.
not we can do that, especially with like changing schedules and stuff. Let me ask you that. Have you ever had any issues booking as far as your band? I always feel like that's the toughest thing about being in a band is finding...
With everybody's schedules.
Yeah,
and,
maybe not finding bookings, but like setting them up, keeping them, getting everybody on the same page to show up to these shows.
Hazel plays in another band down in Des Moines too.
Yeah?
And we're so spread out.
Mhm.
It's a pain in the ass trying to find dates that work for everybody.
Yeah, because you're all across the state and
Mhm.
stuff. Do you have like one guy in the band that does takes on most of the bookings and hits everybody up and says, "Hey, I had somebody question
Every
us
band,
about-"
it's always one person.
It seems like it's easier though, like to streamline it like that. Even as far as like sometimes I'll get messages where it's like, "Hey, you're in a band. I heard your podcast. You want to be on this show?" And it's just like message the band page because John will get it and John will.
I do
know.
most of it. Groovy does some.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of take care of different, bars or.
Yeah.
I used to think it was fun. Now I hate it.
doing the booking
yeah.
and scheduling and all that stuff.
Trying to get money and.
Dude, it's difficult. It's a thankless job. I always feel too, because I'll tell you what, like I always talk about John with Three Finger Betty, and he gives me crap about talking about him so much on the podcast. But he does like all the legwork for that. He books the shows. He stays afterwards. He gets the payout. He splits it up between the bands. He does the whole 9 yards, and he's putting in all that time and stuff. And it's not that I wouldn't, but most of the time, all of our shows are 2 hours away from me. So, for
Yeah.
example, we closed a bar down. By the time I drive across town, get some food, and drive home, it's 5 o'clock in the morning almost by the time I get home. So I'm not going to stick around if I don't have to.
It's tough.
It's very tough. What's the farthest away you've played from your hometown area? Let me ask you that.
Probably like Sioux City up into Minnesota, and
Cool.
we played at the Hard Rock over in Sioux City. That was pretty cool.
Dude, that would have been
That's a cool venue.
That would have been so cool.
2017 was a very good year for me.
Yeah. You guys
played the Hard Rock, Freedom Rally, Celebration. We opened up for Huey Lewis.
Yeah. Oh,
That was
God,
with the original band.
that would have been cool.
And then the Surf.
nice.
All in about 4 months, you know.
Yeah, dude. You're
So I was kind
nailing.
of getting used to big venues, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God.
Big PAs and
Yeah, super pro sound guys, and it's just, excuse me, that would be like the craziest thing I think would be to like have the opportunity to play those shows because they're few and far between for me. But like when you get to them, you're just like, holy crap, this is really neat. But like for some reason,
Celebration is crazy.
dude, yeah, I've been to a few of those. Let's see here, REO Speedwagon was the last one I think I went to. So it's been like 4 or 5 years since I've been to one. Let's see here.
That's a very well organized event too. I mean,
Bingo.
I got to be pretty good friends with Ted Bodensteiner.
I've met Ted actually.
Have you?
I've his son plays guitar, I believe,
Yeah.
and I've sold used gear to Ted
Oh,
for
yeah.
his son. And
Ted's cool.
dude, Ted is super cool. I just friended him on Facebook. I should bug him a little bit.
He just moved up to Wisconsin.
Oh, he did?
He's like a promoter. I don't know what he's doing for sure. I haven't talked to him much since he's moved up there, but
Mm-hmm.
Ted kind of got me into doing stagehand work. That's what he did
Yep.
for a couple years around here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started doing that. And I saw opportunities that you can turn that into full time, you know, like
Yep.
being a drum tech or
Oh yeah.
backline tech.
Yep.
But I've kind of got away from that like the last year, just too busy. And
Yeah. Probably like playing more than you would fixing someone else's stuff up.
well, the stagehand thing is hard because like I did the Foo Fighters show. That was the first one I did.
That's awesome.
And you know, that's a big crew. That was like 125 union, you know, stagehands. It's not that hard to work, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty cool to be pushing a case in and it says Foo Fighters on it. And
Yeah, that would be awesome.
did Fleetwood Mac.
Sweet.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They brought us in at the end of the show, the Foo Fighters show, so we got to, my little team or crew, whatever,
Mhm.
got to sit right behind the stage, right behind Taylor Hawkins for
Oh,
like the last 5 songs.
That's sweet.
That's cool.
Dude, that's awesome. Let's see how much time we got. We're sitting about 40 minutes here, so I don't know what I'm gonna say here next. So you got Crosseyed Mary. You play drums. It's mostly a cover band. You said you've played in original bands before.
Mhm.
All right. Do you want to throw anything out there for any of them? Like, what was the original band you played with?
It was one band.
Yeah.
I'll say the name once, but I don't have anything positive to say about that band. So
Yeah. Well, that just comes back to like we talked about earlier. It's not always easy. It's what it is it's like you've got to get a handful of people on the same page in their free time to put in work to get together and think as a cohesive unit to play shows maybe every weekend, practice once and it kind of drags on you a little bit. Like I've been through it with multiple bands. As far as like Three Finger Betty, I've never had anything bad to say about any of those guys because we've all been very civil to one another. The band Unity that I'm in, we don't spend a whole lot of time together because everyone's across the state here and there and everywhere. So we don't get the overexposure to get tired of one another and stuff like that. But I see where it comes from, man. I've been in bands where
Well, Far From Innocent was a married couple, and the other guy was really good friends. I wasn't friends with them.
Oh.
They come to me, you know.
Yep. All right. So you're a hired gun.
Yeah. But I booked most of the shows. I booked Celebration, and that was my main goal when I said I'd play with them. I wanted a CD in my hand, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe possibly go on a small tour
Mm-hmm.
and open up Celebration.
That's
Well, I met all my goals, you know, except for going on a tour, but
Mm-hmm.
we got a CD, just a 4-song EP for Celebration.
Yep.
And I just kind of got screwed out of everything.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure with Celebration
Dude, yeah.
leading up to that.
I can imagine.
We did a lot. I got a lot of publicity. Josh Mason, you know,
Yep.
he pushed us really hard in interviews and newspaper articles, and
Yeah, he's
it kind of got weird.
out there doing God's work as
Oh.
far as it's concerned.
He
Like,
promotes everything.
yeah, I mean, I wish I could do more, and I took a lot of the inspiration for doing this from his show that he's doing, the Regional Rock Hour, and I did a podcast with him not too long ago. If you want, you can.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, and
That was a good one.
It was damn good. Like, it was also kind of fun to be like, there's no FCC regulations. Do whatever you want, dude. So you got to hear him swear a couple times. I thought the funniest thing ever was hearing somebody with like a perfect radio voice using profanity. You're like, whoa, wait a second. It's not like it's that out of the ordinary, but it's still just kind of like, holy cow, it's kind of weird.
It's kind of hard sometimes not to swear.
Yeah.
You got to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, once the microphone's in front of your face, you can put that like veil over your put a filter up and kind of do it. But at the same rate, I feel like having a nice conversation is so much easier than trying to filter yourself.
Hazel accidentally dropped the F-bomb last year at Rockin' Picnic. I'm like, oh my God, he didn't. And he caught it right away, like, apologized. If he wouldn't have said anything, nobody else probably would have noticed. But
bingo, yeah.
Oh, man.
And I would talk to Scott about that, and he's like, oh, it's happened once or twice, and as long as you're not out there celebrating it, don't really care. So like you said, if he didn't mention anything, I bet people probably wouldn't have even noticed. But, when you call yourself out, it's like, oh, snap.
Celebration this last year, Sammy Hagar and Vince Neil, Mm-hmm. That's a pretty, family-oriented event, too, all ages. And so I don't think they really have a whole lot of swearing. But I guess if you're Vince Neil or Sammy Hagar, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, no kidding. I don't blame him, though. Like, dude, if I was Vince Neil or Sammy Hagar... That's another thing, like being a musician and being well-adjusted don't always seem to go hand in hand, and I find myself the older I get, the more well-adjusted I am. But I'm also not like a Vince Neil or Sammy Hagar or like worldwide famous rock star, so I'm not just like running around going nuts at the drop of a hat like some of those guys might have the ability to.
Kind of like a comedian, A good comedian can do a clean show and a dirty show,
Bingo, yeah. That's probably my favorite thing ever is when somebody compares what we or what musicians do to any other form of live entertainment, because there are extreme parallels in both of those, as far as like comedians. Sometimes it's like, well, those big guys coming through town, they're giving me 15 minutes, and that's no different than like Crosseyed Mary's opening up for these guys. They gave us half an hour to 45 minutes. It's like, you got to pack in there your best stuff. Make the best out of it, because you're probably playing regional and this other guy's not, but he's the draw, so you're showing up and there's going to be people there that never heard of you, so you got to bring your A game, and a lot of that exists and people don't necessarily think about that.
I love opening shows.
I like opening up for shows more than headlining, just for the simple fact that a lot of times, I don't want to call anybody out, but like I've headlined shows where by the time you get up on stage, the two bands that open up for you, all of their fans are gone. Every single one of them's gone. Half of their band is gone.
It was like that a lot at the Afterlife.
Yeah. And
you had a better crowd early than late.
Yep. So opening up is not a bad deal. Plus, if you're opening up, it's just like, let's pick these 6, 7, 8 dynamite songs that are absolute bar burners, and just be like, let's do it this way, instead of trying to pack in a slow song where it's just like, if you're headlining, you kind of have to do that. Like, this is the song that gets everybody amped up, and then this is the song that everybody knows, and then this is the song where everybody can go take a pee, and this is the song where we can kind of slow down so you can go order a drink, and so like, you kind of got to figure some of those and pack them in there. But if you're opening up the show, it's just like, oh, we're going to play this killer song, this killer song, this killer song, this killer song, and not that...
Bam, 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 too, no breaks.
Yep, and it's not that that's the mindset, but it's kind of one of those, like, hey, follow this kind of deals. And it's not like that's what you're going into it thinking, but you've got to make the most out of the short amount of time that you have, and that's usually what ends up happening.
We had 75 minutes for Celebration.
Dude, that's a long time.
I know.
That's a long time.
We struggled. We had to put some covers in it. We struggled to cover that, but 75 minutes is... a long opening set. I don't know why we had to do that, but
that's nothing to turn your nose.
But it goes fast.
It does. And it's kind of like these podcasts. Once you get into it, you're like, oh man, I got 5 minutes in, and then you look over, it's like, well, there's 15 minutes in, and then you look over again. But by the time you look over the last time, you're like, oh, I got 48 minutes in. We're kicking ass now. We're in the home stretch. I still remember the first show that I played that was long was that Val Air Ballroom show, and it was like the 4th show I'd ever played. And it's like, you guys want to play for 2+ hours? Like, oh shit. So we had to throw some covers in there and stretch it out as much as possible without just sitting there and talking and being a bunch of, bumps on a log or whatever. But it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to keep your composure mentally, to just go out and keep kicking ass. And you as a drummer, I always looked at the drummer where like you'd play a song, and I almost always like, we want to turn to the drummer and be like, dude, you doing okay? Because you're sweating bullets over here. You're just dumping sweat. And like, are you one of the drummers that walks around with like a gallon jug of water, chugging it in between every song?
Usually beer.
I don't know how you guys do it, even playing like hot clubs. And I mean, that's the reason the drummer's usually like half naked anyways, because they're just sweating so much and they got to stay cool. But you guys burn so much energy up there just swinging sticks around,
Especially
playing
when you don't have hair to soak it up. I mean, it just drips off.
Yeah, you and I are in the same boat as we're slightly follically challenged, but I think you might have me beat even. I'm looking pretty rough for a 30-ish-year-old.
I couldn't stand to have long hair again. It's too much maintenance.
Bingo. I liked having long hair until I cut it all off, and now I guess I wish I had a full head of hair, but I surely don't really want long hair back.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work to, like in my younger years, you have to get used to like not lighting your hair on fire when you're lighting a cigarette and like everything. So there's a little peek into the mind of me when I was younger. But yeah, I mean, as far as playing those long cover shows, what do you think the most difficult part is, other than just filling the time? Do you think choosing, like, let me say this, like, let's say you got 45 minutes with Crosseyed Mary, you're going to open up and they're like, you guys now have an hour 15, so you got to choose 30 more minutes worth of music. Do you guys ever have difficulties choosing what songs to play, or like anything like that, or
not really.
You guys are all kind of on the same page as far as tunes?
When we opened up for a Doors tribute band at the Surf 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be 2 years ago this weekend.
Oh, cool.
It was on Labor Day weekend. But
yep.
when they said it was a Doors tribute band, I'm like, you sure? You know, we're going to fit in?
Mm-hmm.
But we just played our normal stuff and went over really well.
That's good.
Actually, I had a lot of people come up to us and say, I wish you guys were playing all night, you know. This band's kind of boring. It's, you know, the Doors, some of the stuff's kind of mellow. And
Yep. Yeah.
I wasn't ever a huge Doors fan, but they were a very good band.
Dude, they were so good. One of my favorite things ever was when I was growing up, somebody always used to come up to me, and this was their argument to me every time. They're like, oh, these young bands with all this heavy music, everybody they start rioting and drinking too much and partying and blah, blah, blah. If you go to a Doors show, nobody was rioting. I'm like, dude, they were all high as fuck at Doors shows. That's why. But that's like, it's more conducive to that mellow nature of what's going on.
I didn't know I knew that much Doors. I mean, until I watched that band, I knew every song. I'm like, God, you know, I didn't realize I was that big of a Doors fan.
Yeah, because, I mean, everybody, when you think of the Doors, you just think, like, come on, baby, light my fire. You know, and it's like, okay, that's kind of that. But the Doors were also kind of one of those unique bands where they didn't really fit the mold of literally almost anybody else that was around them at the time. They also had Morrison was kind of a goofball, so it kind of lended to their uniqueness, I guess, in a way. So what kind of songs do you guys usually like to cover? We talked a little bit about it. You're kind of a little bit more into the heavier classic rock, I'm assuming.
Kinda, yeah. We got a Black Sabbath medley thing that we do.
Dude, that's cool.
That's just gotten ridiculous. I mean, it's like up to 6 songs or something.
That's awesome.
You really got to concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
I always make notes on my set list, which songs, you know, and how they transition.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath songs always have a weird middle part.
Yes.
Right? You know?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I think they might have been the inventors of, like, the quote-unquote breakdown.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of, like, the thrash bands will have that breakdown in the middle that sounds a little different. I feel like all of that came from Sabbath.
So we do these Sabbath songs, and we'll do it until that weird part, and then go into another one.
Oh, cool.
And it's like 15 minutes long.
That's awesome. You know,
War Pigs and Fairies Wear Boots. And
Yep.
It's pretty cool, but Yazel's a big Randy Rhoads guy, so we got to do a lot of Ozzy.
Cool, yeah, I don't blame him.
Alice Cooper.
Yep.
We do like one Alice Cooper song.
Mm-hmm.
Some Jimi Hendrix stuff. And
do you ever attempt to, like, tailor this to the show? Maybe, like, pick out a couple of the heavier songs and play a couple of bluesier songs or something like that for a show, instead of, you know, try and match the audience or try and guess what you're going to run into in a different
We've had to do blues jams when Dave had problems with his Groovy had problems with his voice last year, starting with this show. Or he had some problems at the Freedom Rally, but this show, Rockin' Picnic, he had a lot of problems. And we actually had to do like a 10-minute blues jam, you know, because he was having problems singing.
Oh, I mean.
So we haven't really done much since last year because he went to the doctor and he's got to take care of now. But singers, I feel bad for him, you know. That's a voice. That's like a muscle, you know. The older they get.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I was thinking about. Like, if I'm playing guitar 2 hours, my hands get tired, big deal. I can still go walk around and communicate with people and have a good time. and eat food and whatever else. But if you're a singer and you sing for 2 hours and your voice is shot and your throat is all messed up, first off, I always just have the utmost respect for singers. Not a good singer. I can pull it off if I absolutely have to.
Remember lyrics. I don't even listen to lyrics. My wife's always saying, I love the lyrics of this song, and if I try to listen to lyrics to a song like halfway through, I find myself not even paying attention.
Do you key in more on the drum beats or?
And the bass guitar.
Yep. I always feel like a lot of musicians lend themselves to their instruments within the song a lot more, and that's where a lot of people choose their music. Where, like, a lot of extremely technical drummers like the really like heavy metal stuff, where the dude's just like, blah, 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 blah. It's like Cookie Monster singing vocals and stuff. But like, they're like, I'm not even listening to that guy. I'm listening to the drummer, and the drummer's just killing it over here.
Yeah, meanings of songs really don't mean anything to me. There's a few songs that. You always have songs that you always put back to a certain situation,
Yeah.
Every time it comes on, you think of that situation.
Bingo, yeah.
Or a death of a friend.
Exactly, yeah. I was here when I heard this song, and now it's forever burned in my mind to be this certain situation. I've definitely got a few of those in my life. But it's also kind of funny, like, when you hear songs and you think about, like, okay, for example, last night I was at the bar in between bands. Somebody turns on the jukebox, start playing The Police, and someone's like, the Police suck. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're not my favorite band ever, but I like listening to the lyrics of these guys because every now and then a Police song, you're like, this is kind of creepy. Like, I'm trying to think of it. Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be one if I want to recommend you to listen to the lyrics of anything. Listen to the lyrics on that one. It's just like, dude, like, what are you guys singing about? Like, is this better not be like a real life situation because it's about like a teacher and a schoolgirl that like each other and they don't know they like each other. I don't know, and it's stuff like that where it's like, did anybody ever listen to this? This is played on the radio all the time. It's 2019. I thought people were mad about this stuff, and it's like, this is
How
just
about Winger, 17?
Dude, yeah.
I can't believe they can still play that. She's only 17, but she's old enough for me or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, and that's literally nothing more than a ripoff of Christine 16 by Kiss, which is also like, this song is greasy. Like, there's a part in that song where he's like, when I saw you coming out of school that day, I knew I had to have you. And it's like, dude, how can you? I wouldn't even say that out loud in recording. Hope somebody doesn't isolate that audio of me saying it just now. But man, it's I don't know.
Today's world that we live in,
It is kind of wild, though. I feel like there's a lot of different perspectives being given on a lot of different platforms. Like, if you go to Facebook, it's you get a little bit of different exposure than you do with Twitter, than you do with like just going out your front door and talking to your neighbor, than you do on the news. But I also feel like a lot of that's like an echo chamber. Like, if you go on Facebook, it's going to figure out that like you lean left or you lean right, and it's going to show you things that either you agree with or you horribly disagree with. And I've looked up like the science behind a lot of that stuff, and I've tried my best to outdo the algorithms, and I found it just honestly best to stay off social media as much as possible to try to preserve my own sanity. And
Facebook is creepy, man.
It's
a spy.
It's getting weird. Everybody knows it is, but like, as far as like targeted ads, or like you can be thinking something and Facebook will show up with something that either reinforces what you think or challenges what you think.
I took a picture with Steve Litter last night, and my wife and daughter were in it, and they both got notifications a little bit later that I don't know, it must be facial recognition. Yep. Somebody posted. I posted a picture that could include them.
Yep. It'll do that. I've actually
strange.
I found. Oh God, this is the worst thing. I found ways around that where like it works best at a computer, and this is just a weird thing. So like, if you're at a computer and you pull up a picture, it'll pull up a box like right around your face, and it'll be like, who is this? And somebody can tag you in it, and the more people tag you, the more it realizes your face and starts just auto tagging you and other things. So like, what I do usually when I try to do when I do like the podcast stuff is I tag somebody in the picture outside of this facial recognition box, so it doesn't know whether or not it's my face or their face that is the same person. And I mean, that's just like a defense mechanism I have against that kind of stuff, because I'm a little bit creeped out by that, but at the same rate, like I don't know, I just bought a new phone. It's got facial recognition software instead of the thumbprint thing that iPhones used to have. I never turned it on. It's just like there's enough people that have enough of my facial and like, why would I want Apple to have my facial recognition now that they've already got my thumbprint? The world's kind of weird. But the one, I don't know, let's drag it back to music. The one thing that's always been constant is music, and I feel like that's the one thing that always brings people together. How many people are outside right now? 200, 300, 400, 500?
Yeah, that's quite a few.
It's packed here. these people don't all agree with each other. They don't all have the same political mindset, but we're all down here in town enjoying something together, not arguing with each other. Nobody's fighting over politics. Nobody's fighting over small town nonsense. No, everybody's putting all that aside to come out here to enjoy music. I think that's the reason I like music so much, is it just brings everybody together. You can ignore your issues.
Everybody can forget everything for a while and enjoy a show.
And that's what it comes down to is getting a break from that the rat race of what's going on out there. Because I mean, believe it or not, like the internet's just full of people. It's one person with a blowhorn telling you how everyone feels, and for the most part, everybody goes on there like, this person said this, so I believe it. Like, this is how everybody feels. And then you go, like you said, go out to these shows, and it's like everybody's just getting along. Nobody's arguing with each other. It's such a crazy deal. Let me ask you this: what's the biggest show you've played?
Celebration.
Yeah. Dude,
I think I was like 7,000.
Holy. That was
That's weird. That's a lot of faces.
It's
facing you, you know.
Dude.
That's the only show I ever threw up before.
Oh God, yeah. I could see that. Like just playing the Rockin' Picnic here last year. 200-300 people were here at the onset of the show because we opened up very, very early in the afternoon for that one last year. That was another one. By the time I was done, I was wearing a gray shirt. It was darker gray by the time I was done because that thing was just dumped with sweat. And I was like, holy cow, I'm so nervous out here just playing to all these people.
Celebration's just intimidating. I mean, it's a big stage.
Yep.
Big area, you know.
They still doing that at the Olsen Park Band Shell down in Fort Dodge?
Harlan Rogers.
Harlan Rogers. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, that would have been way more full than down at the Olsen Park Band Shell.
When I left, we did sound check, and we were camping over at Kennedy.
Yep.
When I saw the line of people waiting to get in,
oh God,
gates weren't open yet, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the fuck did I want to do this show for?
Exactly.
Why did I want to do this?
It all went well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, that would. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. That would be so intimidating, especially like you said. You sound check, everything sounds good, and you're like, man, this is gonna be great. You go back to your camping spot for a little bit. You're driving back. 400 cars are waiting to get into the place. I would have done the.
Once I got back to the stage, everything was fine. But yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my God! Yeah, the pressure just leading up to that, knowing that that's how many people are going to be there. Because beforehand, you're not really thinking about like, oh, this place is going to be packed. You know, we're opening up for Hagar. It's going to be great. You know, but at the same rate, like the closer it gets, you're just like, holy cow, what have I got myself into?
The surf is cool because there's so much tradition, you know.
Yep. Did you ever get to go back and see the green room there?
Yeah, when we played there, there's two different green rooms.
Oh, yeah?
The headliner got the main one.
Yep.
And then there's one off to the side, but that's got all kinds of signatures. And
yeah,
we signed the wall. And
sweet. I've always wanted to peek inside that green room, and I've honestly debated whether or not to go up there and schedule a tour just to go see it.
And they can go there anytime, can't you?
Yeah.
Like during the week?
Yeah, because they're open during the day, and if you just call them up, I think what the deal is there's always somebody working there. So, like, if you want to go buy tickets at the quote-unquote box office, somebody will be there to sell them to you. But you can also be like, hey, I'm coming in at 1 can you do a tour today? And they're like, heck yeah, we can walk you around the building and stuff.
I got up there, my daughter went with me. I was like the first one of the band to get there, and so we walked around the surf and looked at all the stuff. And it's just dead quiet in there, you know.
Yep.
It was like eerie, you know.
Yeah.
There's so much history at that place.
It's wild. I love how, I don't know who's curating what they put on the walls, but they'll have stuff from all of the years that people have played there all over the walls, and then every year at the surf they'll bring in 5 to 10 pretty big bands, and they'll usually take donations from these bands, and then
guitars
like I want to say Charlie Daniels band was there a few years back, and I can't remember. It's not like they got a fiddle, but they got like maybe a hat from him or something. They always take like something kind of slightly signature to this person and put it in there and be like, here, we're going to frame this, put it up here. It's kind of a neat thing we got going on. And they do a really good job of displaying that stuff, swapping it out for new stuff, because every time I've been there, there's been a slightly different array of stuff on the walls. And that's one of my favorite parts about going to shows there.
About every band that plays there appreciates it for, you know, what it is.
Yep. And I you know, we get
Robert
that.
Plant's going to be there.
Yeah, I saw that. I debated whether or not to get tickets. I'm sure that's sold out.
It sold out in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, because I mean,
it crashed there. I couldn't get tickets.
Yeah,
my wife was trying to get them on the website, and it crashed their website.
Yep.
And I made like 400 calls.
Oh God.
Trying to call the number, you know. So I'm hoping to maybe get a favor and still score a couple, but I doubt it.
Oh God, yeah, and that's a tough one. Like I remember, I want to say ZZ Top played there maybe a couple years back, and that was
one. I've been there a couple times,
and that was one where I was like, I'm gonna go to this or whatever, and then tickets were astronomically priced, but at the same rate, if you do the math, how much does it cost to bring AC/DC in? I'm guessing 200,000, $250,000, somewhere in there. Those are numbers that I've heard rumored.
AC/DC?
No, a ZZ Top, excuse me. But those were numbers that I've been quoted that aren't real. Like, I was just like, it's about this much is what I've heard. So I've heard like fourth hand that it costs like $250,000 to bring them in. If you got a place that only seats 2,000 to 3,000 people, your ticket prices are going to have to be pretty high to recoup everything back. And then on top of that, ZZ Top's coming to the Surf Ballroom. You're not going to get a ticket of that. You know, you're going to have to try your hardest. And it's going to end up with a situation like you, making 400 phone calls and still coming up short. But
shows are expensive. I mean, I know Kid Rock Celebration was looking at getting them, or they put an offer out, and it had to be over $750 to even consider.
Yep. And, dude, I get it, though. Like, as far as a musician's aspect comes, like, if you're that big and you've got to gather up all your gear, get a whole crew together to show up at a place, to have all the music learned, I mean, even as far as like, are you going to have to bring your own lights, stage setup? What all are you going to have to bring to make this?
That's not even including that in the price.
Oh, God.
Production is separate.
Oh, Jesus. But, you know, and that just comes down to, I agree with it. Like, to an extent, like I get the fact that like musicians need to get paid. People that are that big are gonna expect more than some of the smaller bands like us. But I've always been trying my best to like do a positive fight for paying the musicians their just dues, because I've been to shows where it's like your payout is $6. It's like, oh sweet, how are we gonna split that between 4 people? You know, I'm like, you just want to like take it and throw it out in the street or whatever, you know. Like, but at the same rate, it's like, dude, they paid us. I'm happy we got paid something, I guess. But it's always a tough thing to find. And I guess that comes down to like, are you playing in a cover band? Are you playing in an original band? Are you covering 2 to 4 hours, or are you covering 30 minutes? You know, and are you playing the songs people know that are bringing them in, or are you just playing originals and nobody knows them and people are leaving? You know, it comes down to like all these different factors that, believe it or not, a lot of musicians don't want to admit. They're just like, I put the time in, pay me the money. And trust me, I get that mindset too. But you still also have to look at it as a business aspect. Somebody's putting all this on as a promoter or a business owner.
There's a lot of different.
There's so many
people
different
getting paid.
Yeah, I mean
like big show at Wells Fargo. You know, you got catering.
Yeah.
There's so many different departments. The local crew, you know, they got to pay for that.
Yeah. I mean,
125 people on that Foo Fighters show, and everybody's getting at least $22 an hour. You know.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
just the local crew, and then they had like 50 on the touring crew.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is you think like, oh, $750 is so much for Kid Rock, but it's like, how many people is he bringing with him? They all got to get paid. It's not like they're just showing up for fun. They all got to eat food.
There was 18 semis for that Foo Fighters.
Dude,
you know how many buses?
Yeah,
it costs a lot of money
to drag a band like that across the states. I don't know. I used to get upset about stuff like that, but the more I think about it, and maybe it's just getting older, becoming more business minded, and being more open to the idea of like, there's a lot of bigger picture things going on here than just this band showing up and playing a show. You know, I don't know. I have a lot more respect for bigger shows like this now that I know what has to go into setting them up. Even as far as like I'm gesturing towards the Rock and Picnic stage. Like, this is a huge show for Humboldt. It takes a lot of work to set this up. They pay all the bands to show up. They justify it accordingly. It's a free show, so they're not getting any money from anybody in the crowd to just show up, and all of it's literally just donations, buying shirts, foods, things like that. There's a lot of work that goes into that. Someone's got to balance all those books behind the scenes and make sure that everything comes out right. It's not an easy task, and
I'd probably work on it all year. You know?
Oh God, yeah, no kidding. They do a damn fine job, and anybody that's doing any of that work to promote music, to bring music into your bar, or to bring a band that you like into a bar that you want to see, that like you're doing all of, like I always say, you're doing God's work here, man. You're doing all of the hard leg work that is stuff that I don't know about you, but I take it for granted because I don't do almost any booking in my band. So like John is the one that does a lot of that headway and stuff like that. So I don't get to see a lot of that firsthand. And the few times that I have booked shows, it's a pain in the butt, you know. It's like you tear your hair out and you hit up everybody in your band. Can you make this show? Yes. All right. Well, we can make it. Now we need to find an opener. It's like you hit up all these openers. Can you guys make it? It's like, well, we'll get back to you in a week. And it's like, well, okay. Then you wait a week, and it's like, okay, next band, can you guys make it? And it's like, you know, give us a week to like try to plan it out. It's like, no, we can't make it. So you got to like, you're digging into like 3, 4, 5 opening bands, and it's not easy.
I don't know how the touring. We did a lot of shows with Screaming for Silence. Have you ever seen them?
Yep.
I told Jeffrey, I said I went on every show, every time they're at Afterlife. I love that band. So those guys, you know, they tour going tours all over the country.
Yep.
Driving in a van, pulling a trailer.
Oh, God.
Sleeping in Walmart parking lots, you know, after the show. And sleeping in bars.
Living off canned tuna and rice packets and stuff.
It'd be a rough life. I mean,
dude, it wouldn't be
it'd
easy.
be fun.
It would be fun, but at the same rate, like, I'm only 30, and I'm like, I'm not 30-ish, and I'm still just like, I'm not going to do that. There's no way I'm going to be like, hey, hang out in this van with a bunch of smelly people eating pasta. I'm like, nah, I'm kosher. Like, as much fun as it sounds like to live your dream, to do that kind of thing, it's still just kind of like, man, maybe I've been sanded down too much by society, but it just doesn't sound like it's doable. And everybody that's out there doing it, you're living the dream, and I wish I had the drive that everybody out there had.
I know, I'm too old to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it only gets tougher when you get older and you have a family and things like that, you know. How bad do you want to leave your nice, comfy, cozy bed and your family and your day job, as much as you might not like your own day job, because I'm sure everybody else out there has their own, like, nuances about their job that they don't like, but it's still like, man, I like having the money, and I like showing up and doing the work, and believe it or not, if you had to sit in a van for 5 hours a day to travel to the next show, you'd probably get pretty bored after a week, you know. Like, how much time can you spend on Facebook and social media or playing video games or cards across the table with somebody or whatever? It would get a little old, but that's the reason that I'm so thankful for shows like this in Humboldt, or like as far as me being in a punk band down in Des Moines, and just getting these opportunities to play kind of close to my hometown. I love it so much. How did you get first involved in doing a lot of this stuff as far as playing shows locally? Was it like you in high school with a buddy that were just like, hey, you and me, let's play some stuff. You play guitar, I play drums, let's just see what happens?
That's kind of what it was like when I was a freshman, you know.
Yep.
Well, I'll play drums, well, I'll play guitar. That never went anywhere.
Yeah, yep.
You know, we sucked. Terrible.
Yeah.
And I moved down to Ames, and then I found some better musicians down there.
Uh-huh.
And then I ended up moving back, and my initial plan was to move back up to Minneapolis, or move to Minneapolis. I didn't plan on staying around here for very long, but here I am.
Yep. Yeah. That's me
too.
I
ran into Groovy. Clear back, we've been playing together for, that would have been the early 90s, like 92.
Yeah.
So that's how long we've been playing.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so you...
And Yazel.
Yep.
I met him when I lived down in Ames. He was going to Iowa State.
That's cool.
And, so I've known him since back then, too.
That's awesome. I also feel like to transition from that, like, I'm a beginner in high school to the next level, you almost have to just surround yourself with better musicians to kind of elevate everyone's game all at the same time.
It was weird with the Yazel. We started Crosseyed Mary, and we had a couple different guitar players. We had one that was with us for about 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. And Yazel was actually living in Eagle Grove, and I didn't know it.
Uh-huh.
I'd see him out mowing, and I'd tell my wife, I said, man, that looks like a guy who used to know names, you know. Mm-hmm. And
before Facebook, so you could just, like, Facebook.
Yeah. And he used to play on the house band on Sports Sound Off.
Okay.
He worked for WHO.
Cool.
In the control room. But
dude, that's awesome.
I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, shit, that's Dave Yazel. I know that guy, you know. Mm-hmm. They'd like show him playing out to breaks and coming back in.
Yep.
But then he had a son the same age as my daughter. Uh-huh. So I saw him at a couple school events. And then I actually ran into him up in Ronnie James Dio at the Surf.
Dude, yeah.
Like a Sunday night, Dio and Anthrax. And
you want to hear the crazy... I'm going to admit this on the podcast, and I'm only going to say it once. Before I knew what was good for me, somebody was like, I have an extra ticket to Dio. Do you want to go? And I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Really?
And I didn't go.
How dumb
is that? Look, Dio walked around and shook people's hands in the crowd after the show was over.
Really?
Yeah. Like, that's how dumb I am. I have seen Dio. I saw him with Black Sabbath on the Heaven and Hell tour. But... anyways, continue. God, I feel so dumb.
No, that was an awesome night. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I got to see Dio once. Mm-hmm. I was a huge Dio fan growing up.
Yeah, I am now, but I didn't know it was good for me at the time.
I think Rudy Sarzo was playing with him, and
I think so.
Simon Wright, I believe, was the drummer.
Yeah, so good.
I've got to see a lot of cool shows at the Surf. I mean, intimate setting. That Dio show, there was only probably like 500 people there.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't sold out, not even close. God, I'm so upset I didn't go to that. But,
you know, I ran into Yazel at that. I'm like, dude, are you Dave Yazel? You know, yeah. And then when we all got in a fight and didn't talk to each other for 5 years, I was down at Laserfest. Mm-hmm. Miles Kennedy and Slash, you know.
I was at that show.
I say that Miles Kennedy got us back together because
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'll never talk to Hazel again,
Yep.
But
you never get to see him
watching,
again.
Slash, and it was like a beam of light come down from heaven. Miles Kennedy singing "Sweet Child of Mine,"
Yep.
and I'm on one side of the sound booth, and he's on the other side, and we both like looked at each other at the same time. And ever since we made up there,
Yep.
so I always said Miles Kennedy brought us back together.
Dude, that's awesome.
I've always considered him like Jesus. He kind of looks like Jesus.
Dude, when I used to have hair,
Great singer.
people used to call me Miles Kennedy
Really?
because I kind of had the same hairstyle as him and stuff. It happened all the time. Fun story about Miles Kennedy. Big Alter Bridge fan. You and I were talking Creed before the podcast. Creed turned into
Yeah.
Alter Bridge. I was a huge Alter Bridge fan. I went and saw them a couple times live. Really small shows that not very many people were at. You get to stand front row and stuff like that, and you're just like, hey, rock and roll. I saw this guy, and then I saw him at the Surf with Slash, and I was just like, dude, I'm standing there. I got my Alter Bridge shirt on. I'm like kind of like halfway up in the crowd. There's like nobody around me, and he's singing and stuff, and he's just looking at me, and he's holding his mic, and he's like, hey, dude, nice shirt. And
Oh,
I was like, holy crap, he talked to me. Woo! And like tries throwing a pick out to me, and I'm too far away, of course, and he's not a pick thrower, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
man.
Miles Kennedy. I love Alter Bridge too.
Dude, Alter Bridge is so good.
Thank God Scott Stapp was an asshole, or else we wouldn't have Alter Bridge.
Bingo, yeah. I actually heard that Alter Bridge, they turned down Scott Weiland for the job. And,
Oh, really?
and that's what I've heard that. I don't know if it's true, but we've actually got, let's see here. Oh, dude, we got well over an hour recorded now. So,
Cool.
Is there anything else you want to add to the podcast here while we're still here? Any shout outs? Anything at all?
Not really.
Not really.
I'm ready to go over to the Rock
Yeah,
and Picnic.
I'm ready to go over there now.
Check out some bands.
let me say this: if I hadn't seen Brutal Republic like 3 weeks ago at Timbuk Brew, I probably would have
Did
said,
you make it over there?
Yeah, I would have said, hey, let's postpone this. But
Mhm.
I've seen them like within the last couple weeks, and so I'm not as mad that I missed their set
Yeah.
because I can't tell. I got headphones on, so I can't tell if they're still playing or not. But yeah, I'm ready to head over there and enjoy some music. So. Give me one of these fist bumps here, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Making the time. Crosseyed Mary, check them out online. I'll bug you for some links.
We have a
something.
Facebook page, but it's actually a friend page because Groovy didn't know what he was doing when he set it up.
Yeah.
But there's good things about that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you actually, there are benefits and
More
downfalls
people
to
see
both.
it.
Yeah. Definitely. I've had the Crosseyed Mary friend page show up on my Do You Know This Person quite a
Mhm.
bit. And that's another thing, like, running the social media is not always easy because, like, Rock and Picnic has a group instead of a page.
Yeah.
So, like, it's weird dynamic, but I'll find all your social media stuff. You and I will connect with this, and I'll put it all in the description section of this so everybody can find.
We should start a regular
Find
band
Cross-Eyed
page,
Married.
but that's too much work.
It's not that bad. I wish that's
And
one,
it's hard to get likes, you know.
dude, it is hard to get likes.
It really is.
There's
And you see how many people, it reaches out to, and sometimes it sucks.
yeah.
Nobody sees it
I've talked about that on the podcast
unless
too.
you put some money on it.
I've done that with stuff where, like, we Jesus, we went in the studio, we posted a picture of a woman sitting there with a cup of coffee, and she's just like, I wonder if he's thinking of me. And then it's like some dude, and he's just like squinting at a bunch of screens, and he's like, this snare sounds like shit. And he's like in a recording studio session, and I was like, we're heading to the studio today. Well, that gets like more exposure than anything else we've posted about shows coming up and anything. You post something about a show coming up, it's like 22 people saw it. It's like, oh, it's a little disheartening to do that. Even though I shared it and everybody else in the band that's on social media shared it. Still.
I did a Taco Tico burrito experiment. I'm like, I see somebody, oh God, I ate a Taco Tico. Oh, yum. I love that place. So I took a half-eaten picture of a Taco Tico burrito and put it on Facebook. I said, Taco Tico. That's all I said. And I got like 100 likes and comments. But I could put, we're playing such and such, to get 4 people.
Yeah, look, you put no work into eating half of a taco, and everybody loves it.
Yeah.
You put all this work into playing in a band.
get to-
Even if 200 people are at the show, only 4 people saw it on Facebook and liked it.
I've unfriended people that, all they do is, the only time they comment on anything is if it's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, prayers,
Yeah.
Well, I know 100 people don't all, they're not all that religious, they're not praying for you.
Oh my God.
I just get
man.
sick of the drum. I pretty much just use social media for promoting bands.
Yeah, it's an outlet, not a source for input. Yep, I totally get what you're saying. I've been transitioning to that more the last couple of years. I feel like that's a good way to at least keep your sanity.
Politics and
dude, yeah, I mean, and that comes back down to this, dude. All that drama and politics and stuff, non-existent. We're at the Rockin' Picnic. You show up to where there's music. Nobody cares about any of that stuff unless it's like 2 a.m. Someone's fighting out in the front. But dude, it comes back down to that. I want to say thanks again for joining me on the podcast. It's been a great time sitting down talking with you, getting to know you. So
cool, man.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you out there at the show.
Yeah.
All right. Check you later.
Thanks.
Huge thanks to Lance Larsen for joining me on the podcast. God, that was a good time. This is probably one of the best and craziest parts about this podcast is sitting down with people that I do not know and getting to know them better and talking with them about just whatever they have going on and whether or not I've seen them play live, because I've joined the music scene a little bit later than most people that I talk to, and I haven't been fully involved in it for too many years, but I have sat down and enjoyed quite a bit of music in the last couple years. And speaking of the last couple years, like the last year, I've done a podcast about it, and I hope everybody's found a bunch of cool people to sit down and talk with at shows. I will have to say that when I was at the Rockin' Picnic last weekend in Humboldt, Iowa, I ran into so many people that I've known, just that I met over the last year or two, whether it be doing the podcast, playing live shows, going to see live shows, jams, whatever it happens to be. I ran into so many people that it's been a while since I've seen a lot of them too, and it was really good to see some new friends and some old familiar faces, and everybody came up and said hi to me. I'm very, very happy that everybody got to come up and chat. It was just such a good time to get back in touch with a handful of people, because man, I'm so busy these days. It seems like when I go to shows, I just have to duck out as soon as the show's over, and I don't have much time to converse. But this was an exception. Had a great time. Ran into a lot of people. I thought about naming everybody I ran into, but at the same rate, I don't want to sell anybody short. There were a lot of people that said they didn't see me at the show, but you know what? It's going to be kind of hard to find me when there's 1,000+ people at the show. No, I'm not kidding. There was at least 1,000 people at the show. It was probably one of the biggest years the Rockin' Picnic's ever had. I played a show Saturday night with Three Finger Betty, and that had Americature and the Eleanors on it, and I had a great time watching those guys play. It was the first time watching the Eleanors, and it was the first time I'd seen Americature in over a year. And Americature comes from up in my neck of the woods in the Fort Dodge area. I did an interview with Jared Harp. If you want to check anything out on them, go check it out. That was a good episode too. It was a good time seeing those guys play. I got home so late on Saturday night, I guess Sunday morning. I slept until like 3 on Sunday and then headed down to the Rockin' Picnic. I ended up missing Dawn Patrol. Huge bummer. But Scott Dahl posted a bunch of videos, posted them in that Rockin' Picnic group. Check them out if you want. Lucky for me, I showed up just before Brutal Republic hit the stage. I got to see about half of their set. Popped over to Lance Larsen, see what he was doing, did a podcast with him. You guys just listened to that. It was a great one, wasn't it? Then I got to come back in time for the second half of Grin's set. I ended up missing, I believe, the Cosmic Brownies, or maybe even the Chris Carr Band might have played in between Brutal Republic and Grin. But I got to see the Chris Carr Band play after Grin was over. That was a friggin' awesome time. I love the Chris Carr Band. I made a tweet about it at the show. Chris Carr Band was probably one of those bands when I first started going back and watching live music again. I wasn't playing very much guitar, and those guys inspired me to pick up my instrument and get better at it. So huge tip of the cap to everybody in the Chris Carr Band. I love you guys to death. It's one of those cool things to get to see you guys play shows. You're all really good at singing and playing your instruments and doing every single thing you do. It's just tons of fun. Closing out the night, Rolling Thunder. Holy cow, they sound so much like AC/DC. They also know how to get everybody amped up. Somehow they got everybody from their nice comfy seats to get up and just pack the front. It was one of the first times I'd been to a show at the Rockin' Picnic where everybody just started packing the front. As soon as everybody just started getting up and meandering up to the front, I started ducking out the back door, and I saw a picture that everybody was on stage and man, what a party. Rockin' Picnic is always a good time. If you missed it this year, don't worry, there will be one next year. I will most likely be doing a podcast about it. Had a great time. Hats off to everybody in the Rockin' Picnic committee. I want to say a huge thanks to Lance Larsen for taking a little bit of time out of his afternoon to sit down with me to talk about music and stuff. Even though we both went to an event to watch music, we sat down and talked about it before we ended up going to watch more music. So it was a great day, full day of music. I was there 3 until 10:30 or so. Music was still going when I left. So I'll tell you what, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you just tuned into this episode, go back a couple episodes, check out that Rockin' Picnic episode I did with Scott Dahl. It was an amazing episode. The show was amazing. It was just flawless. The whole thing was flawless. I loved it. They auctioned off all the gear. They raised some money for next year. The crowd support and the community support was amazing. It's just crazy to see that. Thanks once again to Lance Larsen. Check out all of Crosseyed Mary's goodies down below. I got a link down below to check out if you want to see what Crosseyed Mary's got going on. You can check them out on Facebook. Thank you to Couchtown Coffee. If you want to check out Couchtown Coffee's links, they're down below. Don't forget to enter that code word cross-eyed to save yourself 20%. It's been a long weekend, guys, and got another good weekend of music coming up this next weekend, so we'll check you guys later. Thanks for tuning into the Audible Farm Podcast. Peace.